Welcome to Ladies in Production podcast, where we talk about animation and VFX production through the female lens.
We have an amazing guest here today. She is production supervisor at Netflix Animation on Nguyen.
Our first in-studio guest.
Yes.
Yeah, she has fabulous socks, by the way.
Cat socks.
There's
Is it cat?
foxes.
Oh, no,
There's
socks.
foxes on them.
Cat socks.
On has an amazing story that we would love to hear. We want our audience to hear it because she has gone through a very interesting journey, yes.
Ups and downs.
A lot of ups and downs. And tell us, give us a little introduction of yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Nguyen, like Mariel said. I came to the U.S. when I was 10, and then I was, being Asian, the expectation is pretty, standard, engineer, doctor, nurses, whatever, and then I would have been like the third person in my family to go to college. Because my my mom's side, at least all of them, the war happened, the 1970, the Vietnam War. Yeah, so, and then at that time, their family were considered fairly wealthy in Vietnam. And, in Vietnam at that time, if the communists come in, if you are educated, so if you're a teacher, if you're rich, they will throw you in jail. So what happened was a lot of time.
Like China, kind of.
Yeah. So because we all know educated people think, and tyrant and communists, they don't lie.
You're a threat.
Yeah, because if you're intelligent or you have the money too.
Wow.
You get that. So basically what happened was, long story short, so they have to abandon everything. So everyone kind of like, okay, now everyone is poor, and then Vietnam is not like the U.S. where education is free. In Vietnam, you have to have money to go to school. And this I'm talking about preschool all the way to high school. And then if you want to be in college, you have to have a lot more money, because it's not like, oh cool, I'm ready. You have to prep for this, because in Asia, at least, in Vietnam, the education level is really, really high. Like you need to have a really good kind of like tutor and stuff like that
to get into college.
Get finished, because you have to take a test, and then you have to pass that test, and then you get accepted.
So like
in college.
every school is Harvard level.
Yes, basically.
Or like Oxford.
And same with if you want to get in a good school.
A good high school.
Yeah, high school or middle school, elementary, you have to take a test.
So it's a privilege to get into
exactly. And I would say that I probably would not do well in Vietnam because when I was young, I think I have ADHD. I like really distracted, very distracted, because like during the day that we were supposed to take a test to go into most school. At this time, we don't know if my family gonna move to the U.S. yet, and so like instead of like focusing on taking a test, I was worried that I might lost my pencil, because they only give you one pencil for the test. So I tied the pencil to my wrist. And then the whole entire time I was like, oh shit, it's too tight. And so I did not have time to take the test. I definitely failed the test.
Oh my god.
So what this means is that if you fail the test in Vietnam, it's called rate placement test. That means that they're gonna put you in kind of like like not very good school, and you want to be in like
the best
school. Yeah. And the education level is very different too. If you poor, and you in these like poor district in Vietnam, would mean that your education level will not be the same as the rich kid who in a nicer private school or like the nice area.
But it's like even further, because you're still a rich kid in your neighborhood, but it's like kind of like a caste system of education.
Exactly. And but if you're rich, you of course you probably can bribe your way into school. You need to send some donation, like the typical. Yeah. But my family, like, we're not that rich. Yeah. Anyway, so good thing. So we all went to the U.S. So when I was 10, so I basically went here for my middle school and my high school year.
But you came and you didn't speak any.
No, but my mom tried to put me in before you go, they put you in these English class. I went there for like 3 months. I literally, all I know how to say my name is and how are you. That's all I know how to say in English. So, and luckily the area that I would, we moved to is Low Saigon, so it's in OC, so Westminster. And basically the Vietnamese community there is, basically if you guys go there, you will only see Vietnamese. So it's kind of, it's not really like a big deal when you go to the U.S. and out like,
you're with your people.
Yeah, it's kind of like, but
You're in your
I think
community.
that's also a bad thing because so they put us in ESL class and stuff like that, and then the teacher really try hard to, like,
What
we
is
have translator.
ESL?
English as a second language, I think.
Yeah.
And then I have a speech impediment when I was young, so there's a lot of words I cannot say even in Vietnamese. Yeah, so I cannot pronounce like R word. I cannot say R. Like in Vietnamese, you have to, when you say a lot of word like ga, like
You have to roll your
yeah,
R's.
yeah, and I can't because the GA and RA sound the same. Like say when I say đi ga hoặc là ga, it sound the same. Like you cannot tell the difference.
We can't tell the difference.
Yeah, so I cannot say a lot of word correctly. So when I was like learning English speaking, have been one of my like biggest like thing because it's hard
Yeah.
for me to, and my sister is the opposite. Like she have perfect like accent. Like you would not even know we related because my sister like her she pick up English like this. She
hate her.
speak right.
We love her.
Cancel.
We're all about love.
Yeah, so in middle school it only took me a year to learn how to read because my reading comprehension is like way higher. I love book. So
Yeah.
reading happened, like, oh, it's easy, it's word. You figure it out. And I like to read around the like context, I guess, reading. So that means that I don't need to know the word. I just need to know, like what the word is and I guess the meaning. So therefore my learning, I've been really fast at reading. But because my speaking skill is not very good, it took me 3 years to properly be able to like speak.
But could you understand?
Yeah. I would like understanding what easy because I feel like when you can read, understanding is easier. But then speaking have always been one of my like
Your struggles.
yeah, my struggle to get say the right thing, and then I'm one of those people who when I start speaking super fast, like word I can't catch up with my mouth, because
Your brain is
yeah.
going faster.
And that what happened. One of my like biggest challenge when I was young too. Cause even my English teacher was like, if you could slow down, then you will have been fine. But my problem is that I think really I think fast.
Your personality's fast.
So
On does not slow down for anybody.
No. As we're
Nobody.
speaking to, this is a short introduction
We're on
into
the train.
really fast, dense history of On.
Have you ever thought about going to a speech therapist? My son had to go to.
Yeah, so
speech
that was I think that was it's kind of like I said I was in Vietnamese community, and when you're in that kind of community, I think the good thing of course you're surrounded by your people, but the bad thing is that when I was in basically seventh grade or whatever, all these Vietnamese kids, they are so comfortable. Like the second thing is complacency is not good in my opinion because they're so comfortable speaking in their own language with the peer. They don't feel the need to. I need to break out of this.
Yeah.
And then for me out loud, I have always been one of those people who like, okay, whatever, I don't really care. And then when I got like an F in my English class, because we speak so much, like if you put a bunch of Asian people together, they're gonna talk all day.
Yeah.
So what happened was I got an F in the class, and then they have this big like parent conference whatever, and then they were like basically telling my family, oh by the way, like she don't pay attention, like she talk too much in class and stuff like that, and I don't pay attention. Like I'm probably the worst kid you would ever want in your class.
This was high school?
Yeah, no, this is middle school.
Middle school.
And then what happened was they instead of like yelling at me, my family, okay, whatever, we're gonna go get you an Xbox. My family is really strange in a way, like
what?
Yeah,
your punishment is getting
because I think it's because it's ingrained in me because as an Asian person, you fuck it up when you got parent conference, and I think they don't need to yell at you because and I think it get the understanding. At least for me,
It's like a pride thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Your pride was broken.
I actually disappointed my, and I was like, oh, that's not cool. And then, but my middle school teacher, English teacher at that time, she was super nice. She was like, how about you come to after school? I will help you, get your grades up.
Oh my
so
God.
every day I would go to, to her class after school. And my family make sure that I go too, of course. And then she found that I'm very, very good with reading. So she was like, you can catch up if all you have to do is these extra credit that you can do. Basically, you read a book, and then you take a test, and then if you pass the quiz, you get like 10 points or whatever, and then it build up, and then it's unlimited. So literally mean that I don't have to do my assignment. I could read book and get A's. So by the end of the years, during like the close school year, whatever, I actually got an award. Like she stood up on the thing. So I wanted to like award a student who from an F student and became an A student, and she ended up reading 100-something book. That was me. And I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware that was me. So I came up and I get my award. And when I did that, some of my Vietnamese friends, they would like, oh, are you happy that you like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Why aren't you supposed to be,
supporting,
proud? Yes.
yeah.
And then that's
They're
when
jealous.
I was like, this is not a good influence, And I like, I feel like if people are not supporting you, you should not waste your time.
Yeah.
With them. Yeah.
So I'm at that moment on where I actually stopped hanging out with Vietnamese people. Because
at least that circle, right?
Yes, at least that circle. Because actually, I refused to speak Vietnamese at school.
Oh.
Because I feel like if you don't put yourself in a situation that going to help you, how are you going to improve in life?
Yeah, you're like
Right.
immersioning.
Yeah.
Immersing.
So
Immersing.
Yeah. Of course, I speak Vietnamese when I'm at home, and I'm fluent in Vietnamese. I could read, write perfectly in Vietnamese because, like I said, I feel like the education in Vietnam is really tough. Like by the time that you are like 5, if you don't know how to do basic math like multiple table and reading, writing, you
Meanwhile, we're like drawing circles on a piece of paper, cutting paper out.
You basically like. Yeah, you basically like not very smart. Like you special in a way.
They
you're
label
behind.
you.
Yeah, they label you
behind.
because when I went to school in Vietnam, like these kids who are not very smart, they're literally being called like a dung or whatever. The teacher would make fun of them. They put them in the corner.
Terrible.
So anyway, so that kind of like that high level of expectation. So when I came over
even 11, 12-year-old An held herself to a higher standard than anybody could ever.
And also
Hold
decide
her
that
to.
if the community isn't gonna help me and put me down, I'm gonna move on.
I feel like this is foreshadowing your
Yes,
story.
this is
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because anyway, so moving on. So I got to high school, right? And then I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But I was still stuck in that ESL thing because I think the education system in the U.S. is not very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
At these cap case.
Yeah.
I tested, like they tested me to put me out, but like I said, my speaking skill is not very good. So a lot of these tests are like, oh, can you tell me what this is? And I get nervous and I don't remember what these words are.
These are all standard tests,
Yeah.
so that you obviously you are capable of doing it. It's just that our system, we have only one way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't benefit you on your
I mean,
end.
even people who are spoke English their whole life and like do all this stuff, like if you're not good at taking tests, taking tests is a skill. It's not like you actually know
Not
something.
everyone could do it well.
Yeah, so they put me back into the ESL in high school, but then my first day in 9th grade, they, the ESL teacher was like, okay, they want to see where everyone level was at, so they took us all to the library, and they're like, oh, you pick a book at your level, and this will be your book for the entire year. So the expectation is very low. Like, basically, the idea is they want these kids to be able to understand word in this. And then some of these people in this classroom are people that I know in middle school.
Yeah.
And, that means that they've been in the U.S. the same amount of time I have been in the U.S. So I was like, okay, so I picked the biggest book I can find in the library.
Harry Potter.
No, I think this book called Crank, and it's
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a heavy book.
That's not a good book to read.
Well, I finished that
it's a good
book.
but it's
I finished that
traumatizing.
book in like 2 days because I want to prove to myself like I don't fucking belong here. So we came back to class and the English teacher looked at the book and she was like, that is a very complicated book because that's senior level reading.
Yeah.
That's her rate level reading. And then she was like, do you understand everything? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no, I understand everything. She was like, then you don't belong here. So she took me up and she moved me into...
Good.
Well, she moved me, but the system never moved me out of it. So I was technically still considered an ESL student. But the funny thing is that I was in AP program. So I'm doing like all these advanced level at the same time, but the system would say that, so my math class was like really low because the whole entire No Child Left Behind, so they literally teach you yet the basic level of math in high school. So I actually was never in calculus class. I would never end that. Literally like algebra 2. What they put me in. And then I like at that time it's like I don't care whatever, it's like easy A for me. Sitting there and
So
get A for
the
free.
number says that you should be on a different level.
Yeah, exactly.
But the society system is saying no, because this is what we know. You're gonna stay here.
Yeah, exactly. So when I graduate high school I would graduate with honor, but one short because of the system, the whole thing. So I was
Did that
supposed to be. It's like, you know, you were supposed to be in the top 10, but then you have to bump down to the top 20.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. The data doesn't match.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like if you were in all AP, like if I was in all AP classes, but then you were all regular classes, because AP classes get extra credit.
Yeah.
My 4.0 would be a 5.0, but hers would just be a 4.0.
My unweighted is 3.8, and then my proper weighted is 4.5. So that's my GPA when I leave.
Did that affect you getting into college?
No, not really, because during high school, during my senior year, you know, when we start deciding, you know, what college we go to and stuff like that. And then it's funny because this take me back, like recently I realized the reason why I want a master's degree, but because back in what my favorite teacher, Mrs. Griffin, in her English class, she was telling us that, in night rate, she was telling us that she was working two jobs and doing her master and paying for her master at night. And I thought it was so cool. And I thought, like, oh yeah, she was like, yeah, getting a master, I can make more money, I can do better things for myself. And I think that ingrained in me, and I did not realize that. I was like, oh, getting a master is cool. You know, and I didn't realize that. And then recently I came back to school and I talked to her and I was like, oh shit, you were the reason why.
You got a master.
Yeah, I have a master. So senior year, go back. Senior year, we were supposed to decide, you know, which school we go to, and then my art teacher, I went in AP art and stuff. So my art teacher actually, she was super nice. She actually spent time and took all of us to college, like, you know, like looking at college, and she was taking to all different type of in California at least, that's kind of like 20-30 minute way drive away. Yeah. She would rent like a bus, and then her and her husband would literally take us to see like college. So she basically saying that art is a career path that you can go into. Yeah. And this is what available for you. Yeah. And then that's how I learned about the Academy of Art in San Francisco, because she got the representative come and talk about the school, and then at that point I signed up for the SAT already, but I was like, fuck it, I'm not taking it. So I never took the SAT.
I never did either.
Yeah, I never took the SAT. You have to.
As an artist?
And then I decided that I'm going to go to art school. And like Academy of Art is really easy to get in. You send them an application, they accepted you, and that's it. And then my family was, of course, not happy about it because I was, you know, I graduated with 4.5 GPA, like, why should, you know, and typical Asian family. But then my mom was really cool. She's like, yeah, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, art isn't really, like, approved.
Yeah,
my parents didn't want
my aunt, on the other hand, was, like, really angry. She was like, why did you even let your kid do that? She could have been a doctor. With her race, she's smart, blah, blah, blah. And then it's funny because, like, they don't really know, you know, like, Asian parents, the thing is that they don't really know what you do. Like, until this day, they don't know what I do. So when I come home, they're like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm just someone boss. They're cool with it. And so, anyway, so I went to art school, and initially, I actually want to go in at the fine art because I do realistic art. I do painting and I do drawing really well. But then but then the logical side, my brain was like, well, do you think you can make money? And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I can make. At 18, I'm not very confident in my art ability that I can make money
full-time career.
Art full-time. Yeah, so I went to animation because, you know, the industry, animation make money. You can go into this and then multiple paths. So for my bachelor, I actually have a BFA in computer animation. So I know CG animation. And then I did not like being an animator because my trauma the last 2-3 semester left of school. I was like, oh shit, this is not
your thing.
Why is that?
I don't. The first thing is that I have a really good ability to understand my own ability and other people's ability, and I think that what made me a good production person because when you understand your limit, you know where you can improve them and where you can, you know, like when to say no as well. And because of that, I don't think I'm gonna thrive as an animator. Because, I could animate, but this is not something I like, and I feel like I'm mediocre. You can be really good, you can be good at everything, but you have to find something that you love to be like.
Specialized.
Yeah,
niche.
Right, that, exactly.
Can I ask you one question about college? Is it an expensive school?
Yes, it's a very expensive school. I got like.
How much is it like per year, per semester?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Did you get like 8 financial?
Yeah, I do. I have financial aid because, and of course, you know, the whole. So it's like 50% of it is paid for by financial aid. and the other 50 pence loan. And I'm still paying up loan.
Oh, really?
Same.
It's really hard here to get a good art degree because all the good schools are private, like Art Center, Otis. But the other alternative for listeners out there is you can go to things that aren't traditional colleges like Noman or something like that if you want to be. That's a lot less expensive.
I will also plug your local state colleges. There's nice lists if you go on AFI. You can go and see top 25 film schools. I went to CSUN. It was $6,000 a semester now. And it's on the top 25 film schools in the country or world or whatever. And it's affordable, and you get, you still have, you still get your GEs under, psychology, blah, blah, whatever.
You don't have to pay so much money to get an art degree. There's so many resources out there.
Yeah. You can go to junior college for your GEs, and then you can transfer.
Also, you could just take online classes, and if you have the skills,
you have to have the drive.
The drive, self-motivation, then you could get a job.
An could have done it.
Yeah,
she could have.
Yeah.
Well, I think is because I went in for a very specific art degree.
Yeah.
So that why, but at the same time is one of those things where this school, at least, you're not really going there for, part solely the education, but really it's a connection.
Yes.
Because everyone that we still keep contact with, everyone is in the field now, is a big networking kind of opportunity. And of course, you're not going to be able to get this if you go to, let's say, Cal State Long Beach or, any of the state universities out here.
Those schools, too, are so impacted because there's so many students. Because I thought about going to Cal State Long Beach, but they're like, it's going to take you years to get your degree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you can't even get into your
classes. I got
classes.
mine out in 4 years.
Yeah.
At CSUN.
CSUN wasn't impacted though, right?
Yeah, they don't.
It's not crazy.
Yeah. It just depends on which department you go to. So just do your research.
I didn't go to art school. I'm in the same industry, so it could happen.
It also doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, my dad got his BS in business from CSUN, and now he's an artist.
Yeah, so was he self-taught pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, he was 90s teaching yourself.
I was in ESAudio Languages and Literature, so nothing to do with animation.
Yeah.
And it's really, in our industry, it's really who you know it well. You can get a PA job with no degree if you know the right people.
Yeah.
So I was okay, I don't really want to do animation. So I talked to my advisor, and they were like, maybe you can do more. They did suggesting all this other field, and I actually didn't know anything about production at that point. And then so I was having dinner with one of my, mentor, my Aikido teacher, basically, and he told me, he was like, what about production? He actually grew up in Cannes, so he know all about the film industry and stuff like that. So he, what about being a producer? Because you are naturally organized, you good at it. Why don't you do that? Because I was also his the president of the Aikido club at the school or whatever. And then I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can look into that. And that wound up my friend in my third and last animation project I was on as an animator was Borderland.
Video game?
Yeah,
Borderlands.
the video game.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually was animated one up there, I guess, teaser, trailer for some of the character release. And then I animate on it. I was like, wow, I could run this project much better and cleaner and more organized.
Your brain's already a producer.
And then so right after that, my friend was in the program at the producer for that song. So I talked to him, and he was like, yeah, you talk to the department head, and they switch you over. And then luckily at that time, my school yet have a production management field. They hired this person, Sasha Corrales, and she's the best, I would say, teacher, professor in that field, because she fresh out of the industry, and she basically, I'm doing this, whatever. And then so she built this whole entire program and really mentoring the student. And she's not really a teacher. She was fresh out of producer, so she literally teach us how the industry is. This is the bad part of it, and this is the good part. This is what you should expect when you go in the field. And I finished my bachelor, so that was 4 years. I was doing double time because the standard time that they recommend is 5 years at that school for undergrad and 3 years for a master. So I finished my undergrad. I don't want to waste my life at school. So I finished in 4 years, and then I went back right away and get my master in production management. I finished that in 2 years. And then right off of that, I rolled into, during that time, I was working full-time and to pay for my college stuff. And, and then So I was also working on the side as an independent film producer. So you're helping advising people with like marketing plan and research and stuff like that. So get more experience in general. And of course, you don't really make a lot of money as an independent film producer because you don't get paid that much.
It's for the experience.
Yeah, it's just for the experience. And then so when and then luckily Sasha was actually a good friend of Carlo Baena. And then when
Carlos Baena.
Yes. So at that time,
From
Carlos
LDR.
Baena was at Blur Studio.
You know Carlos?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Yeah, we went way back.
What?
So and then I was looking for a job and see what like, say, hey, why about applying for this studio? 'Cause I have someone I know in there. And then that's how my resume got pop up on the top because, like I said, networking is.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was also interviewing for a bunch of different roles. And the funny thing is that even though I yet finished school, when I would interview for Blue Sky, I actually really, really liked them. They're super nice. They told me at the position I would interview for, the PA production assistant, and then they told me they're like, you are overexperienced. Like,
You're too
Oh,
qualified.
you're
they
too
put me as a
qualified.
coordinator.
Yeah, so but they're looking for a PA. So they're like, we don't want you to move all the way to New York. Well, they didn't say that, but they're like, they literally told me we are trying to find someone local. And at that time, I was in California.
Yeah.
And then that was, like the Blue Sky in Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut.
Yeah. So that would have been a big move for me, and I was like ready, like yeah, I'm ready, But they're like, no, you overqualified, and we want someone local. So I didn't get that job, and then I interviewed for. So basically, I finished school. It took me 4 months to land the job at Blur. Because I came in to interview first with them, and then I didn't land the position that I went in to interview for. But they called me back later for a different role. And this is not something that I want, but you need
Take
to
what you get.
Yeah, you need to take it
What was
when
the
your
role?
first job is what the coordinator, the tech and then coordinator. So it's kind of like a production. It's a department thing. It wasn't
Department
really
coordinator.
Yeah.
That's how you met my husband.
Yes.
And all of us.
And all of us.
And all of us.
Yeah, so the funny thing is that I'm like, yeah, sure, I take the job, and I'm so happy, whatever, and then, but I wanted to be in production, like that was my thing. And then it's very different being in production and being department stuff.
Yeah.
But different, and the crazy thing, I have never ever been a PA ever in my whole entire career.
Jealous.
And like even in the project that I work at school, because for the cool thing about my school is that for the master degree, they actually brought in actual project from outside.
Good.
So I got to work with Phil Tippett with the Tippett studio.
So you got to work with real people.
Yes, I got to work with real people.
Does that mean you were able to connect with them too?
Yes. I wasn't. I actually was not a very good. Like I'm really an introvert.
I can't
Yeah.
I can't imagine you schmoozing anybody.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's not my personality. So I'm really just like.
You could have, but that wasn't your.
Yeah, that not
I
me
would
at
hurt.
all.
I could.
Yeah.
It's just like you would just cry if you had to do it.
By the way, can you explain the difference between being a department coordinator and being in production?
I
for
guess
audience?
at that time at Blur, being a department coordinator, that means you get deal with the artist. And you deal with the supervisor. You don't really deal with client. You don't really deal with like scheduling. You don't really deal with all that stuff.
Visibility.
So
Yeah.
you basically know everything every artist is doing. You make sure they do it.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
production communicates with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Department coordinator.
But it just also depends on like what studio work at. Like bigger studios live off of department coordinators or production teams.
Yeah, when I was a PA in Zootopia at Disney, I was basically what Anna was doing.
Because you know everything. You're
as a PA, you know what's happening on the floor, what everyone's working.
Yeah. But then like when I would work with she would report to me for her department.
And you were production coordinator.
But we were equal. I
Right.
just had different tasks.
But
she knew more than
client.
I would be in the room with the client. I wouldn't speak to them.
Okay.
But she knew more about everything than I ever would.
So you kind of knew top down what was happening with the job.
And she knew every little thing. Like I know if I went to she would know exactly what was happening, and if she couldn't get me something on time, someone's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would know if Ons has it, it's covered. She's
Yeah.
on it. That was the slogan.
Well, I'll make sure like all the artists are on schedule, so everything's on budget, everything's running.
The thing is
Yeah.
that On has no BS because she knows what artists are doing. She knows the tools the artists are using.
Yeah, because she got that experience at school.
she has
That's
that
the huge
experience.
plus. Yeah, because
It's
then
a
you know how
huge
long
asset.
things take to do.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
I think it's also because I used to be an artist, so I understand the process.
And how to talk to artists
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and so anyway, so they hired me on to be in charge of 3 departments, which is pipeline, rigging, and CFX. And then after 3 months, I ended up taking over, I think, 5 to 6 departments. And then by the time I left Blur, I was basically, I was in charge of 7 different departments as well, doing production coordinator role as well.
Wow.
How many years were you?
I think I was only there for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did a lot within 2 years.
There was a lot of panic attacks when I left. By me specifically.
Because you took care of so much.
Yes, because I think
that's a lot for one person to...
And, I was like, for me, is my personality, like, I have to constantly be challenged. If I'm bored, the moment I'm bored, I would not want to do anything else. So...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think all of us are like that.
Yeah, so I think...
I like being bored now. Yeah. I'm at that stage of my life.
Yeah. So anyway, so I left Blur, and then I got into this small gig for 3, months, whatever, and then it doesn't, we work okay, but it doesn't really work out for long term.
For you.
Yeah, and then so what happened was the whole entire thing was...
that was a gaming company?
It was like a gaming commercial company-ish,
okay.
and they're doing VR, so I get exposed to VR as well. And then Blur was cinematic game production. And then I left that studio, and then COVID happened. I was interviewing for a bunch of places. COVID happened. All the company I would interview for called me back and be like, we're so sorry, production shut down.
Right.
We're not hiring. And so I was basically unemployed for 6 months.
Wow.
Because of COVID.
Did you panic, or how was your
I was pretty
mental...
chill.
Really?
I'm always been a
panic.
chill person.
Really?
So it's really the big panic for me was that, I was on unemployment pay too. So it wasn't like I wasn't making money. So I think I saw, because, so I'm like, I think, we don't know at that time, we're like, COVID gonna be over in this month, that month, whatever. So I wasn't like panic, I did not expect it to be like a
3 years.
thing that I'm not gonna have a job. And then January roll around, February roll around, and that went out like, oh shit.
Were you looking for a job every day?
Yes, I was looking for a job every day, and and then I do have interview every day. But it was kind of like a situation. They were like, oh, we're waiting for COVID to be over. And then we
they're just trying to get everybody queued up to pull the trigger and go.
And so what happened was, and then March rolled around, and I was like, oh shit, I don't think I'm going to be able to fire a production shop in this pandemic. So what I went back. I used to be an artist. I used to be an animator. So I started drawing again. And then I have never learned 2D animation before because I was in CG and I know how to draw. So, and then really when you're an animator and you know how to draw, it's really one and one,
Yeah.
And so I taught myself how to do 2D animation. And then I talked to a couple company that I met with at CTN, and one of them like, do you want to collaborate with us? And then I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I basically animate this whole entire animation for them on the iPad. I sent it to
you have to
them.
send it to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Is it out?
yes, it's out. And then it's funny because I was like, and then Ria, my partner, she design everything. Cause I'm not the designer. That's why I don't do drawing
You're
art
executor.
anymore. Yeah, I'm more of like I do realistic art. So I can draw realistic art, but I don't do like design, like cartoon, style like art. That's not me. So, but my partner, she's the opposite. She do like crazy good. Any style you want, she will match it. So the client basically give us the style. She do all the design, the lighting, and environment setup, and then I do the animation for it on the iPad.
Wow.
Is this when you created
amazing.
your company?
Yes. And then what happened was right after that happened, and then they start sending clients to us. They are amazing. The company is C Media Studio, and they do like production, and then it's run by these 2 wonderful like co-creator women, and then they are like very like the women animation, women in the industry.
Empowerment.
Empowerment. Yeah. So we've been working together ever since. So after that project, I worked with them. They start sending me clients. And then at that time, I was like, wow, I'm making much money I was when I was working. So why should I, go out and...
Yeah.
So I stopped looking for a job. And then I started get full blow doing my company work. And then we established officially our company.
What is it called?
It's called Another Hour Studio.
Another Hour
Yeah,
Studio.
I have not been publicly announced it at all.
Well, now it is.
I know. Well, here it is.
I don't have a website. I don't have any of that. All we have is literally...
You're
whatever
underground.
We have. Yeah.
You need a website.
Yeah,
You need a website.
It's hard when you're now working full time to get,
I know.
yeah.
Go
To
Squarespace.
Yeah. So what happened was I end up so when we were like full blow doing studio stuff, in July, actually in June, July, WB, so Warner
Of last year.
Warner Brothers.
Yes, last year, 2020, yeah.
Okay.
So Warner WAG, so WAG, so Warner Animation Group, which does belong to WB. They call me. They're like, hey, we want you on this project. Because at that time I learned 2D. I know harmony. So
As an artist?
Yes, an artist. Well, not an artist. As a production person.
Oh, okay.
Because they were looking for a
You had
coordinator.
interviewed with them previously.
Yes,
though.
I did.
Okay.
I interviewed with them, and then like the whole entire, and then I do really good follow up though. So I did follow up with them. So and then when I sent stuff, I was like, hey, by the way, I know the 2D because they were looking for a 2D coordinator who know 2D well for the Space Jam 2 is an incorporate live action and 2D animation.
Yeah.
And then because during my COVID time, the 3 months I relearned all my things, so I know harmony really well. I understand and I work with 2D animation pipeline as well, so I understand how it works. And when they call me, I'm like, yeah, I'm totally available. So at that time, they hired me on full time. This is a 12-hour day job.
12 hours?
Yes, and then
Wait, is that normal?
for feature, they actually
You're
give
client side, right?
Yes, I'm client side.
Yes.
So,
Is
well.
it?
So
Wait,
basically,
12 hours.
my minimum week is 50 hour a week, but it's a 12-hour job day because OT and stuff like that.
Okay, so you get OT.
Yeah. I do get OT.
Coordinators you get, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened is I was doing full blow doing my company stuff. So we have a burnout project. It's in the middle of production, and then I got a full-time job. And then a friend of mine reached out to me, Eric Maurer, and he was like, hey, you should come work with the studio I'm at.
He's the hair supervisor, right?
Oh.
And then I was like, hey, Eric, I don't think I can do it because, I'm
too busy.
I'm
Where
at
is he at?
He at Dreamview, which is my last company I was at before.
The gaming
Yeah.
one.
No, Dreamview, they do like
VFX?
e-commerce, animation and stuff like that. And
Gotcha.
it's interesting because he was like, no, I really need you because I'm a shotgun specialist. So I know shotgun inside. I've been using the
Can you
program.
explain what shotgun is?
Yeah, so
Which is now called?
shot rig.
That's good. They
so
changed
it's
the
a
name.
production. It's a production software
It's a
tool to
tool.
help production
It's a
people
keep
manage.
track.
Management
Yeah,
tool.
management tool. Yeah.
Keep
so,
track of shots.
Yeah.
and-
So I've been using it since I
College,
think
right?
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of college, like real experience. So they give you the real tool in the industry that you currently use. And so I have like extensive like experience in that. So he was like, we need you here. And then I told him I can't. He was like, how about you moonlighting for us?
Oh my
So
God.
I would like doing
Moonlighting a moonlight.
That means not sleeping.
Wow.
I know.
So I would doing a couple of hours at night for their studio. I would doing a couple of hours at night for my studio, and then I would doing full-time work at WAG, and then that happened for the whole year.
Wow.
Is that because you're out of work for 6 months? You're like, I can't say no.
Yeah,
to
you
any
could've-
job,
Or there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, I think it get my personality. Like
Yeah, you
if
can't go out.
there is an opportunity, I would take it.
You have to
I'm
say
a little
yes.
bit of a workaholic as well,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's a. But no, and then at that time, because I already have client project, I need to finish. I need to wrap it for my company, and
Are you
then
still taking jobs? Because I mean,
we are actually doing.
we sometimes we hire 2D animators.
Yeah, we actually working on our, I would say our 7-8 project now.
Wow.
And then I limit myself like only one project at a time.
That's
Not
good.
take more than 2 projects
Yeah.
until I finish that one because it's only me and Ria. She is like the pre-production, and then I'm like the production. I would do like take it all the way to post. Okay, I
Yeah.
have experience in comm as well as editorial and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a big project, then I will hire additional artists on top of it. And then after I finish with WAG, I move on to and then Eric's studio, Dreamview, picked me up right away. So at like full time with them. And then when I finished wrapping up their project, my supervisor at WAG previously, he called me. He's like, hey, you want to come over and working with me on this feature film, whatever, at Netflix? And then at that time, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, So I sent my resume. I wasn't really actively looking at time because right now, I stopped looking for job after I got the job at WAG. At that point, I was like, either or. If I get a job, I get a job. If not, then whatever, I'm cool with it. And
You
then
have your business funding you.
yeah. So when I got that call from him, I sent him the resume, and then Netflix actually called me up for a completely different role. And then so I interviewed with them, and it doesn't work out. And then I interviewed for the position that my friend recommended me, and then they hired me that day. Like I interviewed them.
Wait, didn't you say before that Netflix was your dream?
Yes, no, so Netflix have been my like dream company that I've been wanting to get into ever since I finished school, because like I do a lot of marketing research for like, you know, and then I understand, you know, like what, and I love Netflix too. I love all their content. And, you know, yet in terms of, like, rope, I think Netflix is definitely the best animation studio out there that really give the creator creative freedom. Yeah. And you don't see that. You can't get that in big studio. You don't have that because, you know...
Even small studio.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's all about money, you know, what would make us money. And Netflix is, you know, the content. What is a good content?
The creator.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I, like, this is where I want to be, because for me, in production, it's not about the number. It's about the people and about the content. Yeah. I want to make good story, you know, like that. I think it's hard when in an interview and they ask you as a production person, what is your favorite thing in the production pipeline, and you say story, and they're like, oh, but we're not really hiring you for that, you know. So I think that would also like a
that's
challenge.
not a good sign though. Yeah. Then you're gonna be like, I don't like. Some people are all about like, I mean, what are you doing if you don't want to make a good
Some
thing?
people love to just do the numbers.
Yeah,
that's
true.
I don't know. I would rather be, but I want to be proud of what I'm working on.
That's why there's
I want to be like, look, Mom, I made this, and be like, oh, that's cool.
That's why there's different personalities. Production is all about personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that where I am now. I'm at Netflix.
How do you feel?
Yeah, good.
So their office is in Hollywood?
No, the office in like Pasadena, but I have been working remote since COVID.
They have like offices like everywhere.
Like Pasadena, Burbank, Hollywood.
I think they're open.
Burbank is a new
one,
the brand new one.
And that's more the animation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Netflix is a huge animation. Like, I don't think that's really well known, but they make tons of content.
Original content, and then and their original content is really, really cool, and I love Netflix culture. So it's really
what's the culture like?
It's literally like open communication. That means, you know, there's no, if you want to talk to, let's say, a director or a producer from another show, in-house show, you can literally message them, and there's a direct connection for that. And everyone is in these Netflix have love club. On Slack, wherever, that you basically an open communication thing where you can be like, hey, I have this question, what do you think? Or, you know, and what is really, I don't think you get that from other studio, because you know, they're always blockage, you know, like, oh, you cannot talk to the director, you cannot talk to the producer, blah, blah, blah. You know?
Do you feel like it's because it's so new, or do you think it's just...
I think it's, I mean, Netflix been in the industry for, you know, 5, 7, you know, it's not new, I would say.
Well, like, usually,
newish.
like, the bigger DreamWorks, 25 years, Disney, 70 years. Like,
it's one of the younger ones.
Yeah. Do you think it's a product of, like, the youth?
Yeah, I think
millennial.
Millennial vibe.
Yeah,
and then it'll turn into the older.
Well,
not yet.
Not yet. I don't know about that. Yeah.
I mean, they are trying to go against what the traditional.
I feel like that's what creative is. You know, if you have kind of like an open communication field for creative, you can.
Do you feel like you could input your creative too?
Yes, I'm actually in this like pitch club. It's really cute. They like let people pitch their story, and they actually give you like nice feedback, and you know they give you constructive feedback, and they'll tell you. And then some of the people in this club are actually people who used to work in position where they greenlit. Watch pit and ringlet.
Oh, so, like development.
Yeah, so they would definitely give you really like insightful feedback for stuff that you want to show them, and would hope if you want, because I won't say that, but my ultimate goal is I want to be a showrunner, because I want to do my own idea, and I want to do my story. So I get so I feel like being in this open communication company that exposed me to creative from all over the world. This is why it's my dream company.
Also, I think Netflix, I feel like they pride themselves on being a global company, so they're really into stories that are
diverse.
Yeah, exactly. Really diverse. So this would be the perfect time. And you could start developing one yourself.
Yeah.
With
I've been.
Of course.
It's on.
Of course.
So I on the
1
side.
hour free time,
Yeah. I wrote, I finished, cause we have a series we want to pitch. I finished the first 3 episode script for it. And then recently we finished I've written like the script for another idea that we have, and I really want to either produce it myself or pitch it. But I think I definitely want to do the pilot. Like we have to produce the pilot ourselves. before you can pitch it to anyone.
That's awesome.
You know?
Right. That's amazing. Oh, I want to ask another question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're about to ask.
Oh, no,
something.
go ahead.
So here you are, your dream job. I just wanted to hear about some of, like, maybe some of the obstacles.
That's exactly what I was going to
Okay, then.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you talked about your obstacles in your childhood. Now going to your career, I'm sure there's been different obstacles that you had to overcome.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest obstacle was when I was working. I think I want to get promoted to a certain position, but I was told that, oh, you can't because your English is not good enough. And when they say that is basically the talking about my accent. And I was saying that I have trouble speaking because, there's certain word I cannot pronounce. Like, you cannot fix that because I cannot
Biologically,
say that.
you can't change it.
It's so funny because my teacher in middle school, they literally told my family, like, her tongue is too thick, so she cannot say certain words. It's so funny. And she was like, because like sometimes when I say word, it get like stuck there and it doesn't like.
It doesn't come out.
It does not come, and then I hear it different. I'm like, it makes sense.
That's what
to me.
you think you're saying it, but it just doesn't like make it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really
but it's funny because initially they were like, oh, your communication skill is not good enough, and I'm like,
No,
but then I was like,
communication is great.
Well, I restructured the whole, like literally my job at restructure communication method and workflow, so they would not hire me if my communication skill is not good. Right. So anyway, like it's what a toxic environment, and I think my chances is to recognize that when you're in this toxic environment, you have to leave. And when I
it's like
leave,
your friends when you're in school.
Yeah, so and then I was not happy because during the COVID, I was like, oh, is it because I'm Asian? That's why I don't get a job, during this time period. So I was like thinking about changing my name. It's what like the whole thing.
Wow.
But at the same time,
like fudging your resume.
That is a thing though.
It's
people do judge by the name
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Resume.
I had a friend who had a very ethnic from Indian name. And she was having a hard time getting interviews, and she changed her profile to like a white man with a white man's name. Same exact job experience, everything. She did this as an experiment, and she got so many more interviews. Isn't that crazy?
You're more palatable.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and then I changed my mind because halfway there I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's kind of dumb. so I talked myself out of it. Yeah. So I kept my name. So I didn't change anything. So the only and then I think it's kind of a good thing because that when I found company that are really,
that appreciate
they want diversity.
Yeah, and
especially Netflix.
Yeah, and I love WAG. I love working with them. It probably Space Jam 2 is probably one of the most diverse group of people I've ever worked with.
But that's why you want to be in animation because it's like everybody. It's worldwide. Like. You get to work with people in other countries. Yeah. Everybody comes to LA or whatever, and they're all diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and every studio after WAG it's all like that. So I was like, oh wow, there's actually good studio with people who actually appreciate you. So it's less of a struggle to telling people that I can do it, and more like I
feel like there's a feeling right now that they want to hire more women and more diverse, like more Asians, more whatever. So, and I don't know if that's because of. I guess it is because of Me Too and Black Lives Matter and the whole Asian thing.
Well, hopefully it's an eye-opening that it should be the case, not that we're getting like an easy path or anything. Because I feel like some people see it as like, oh, it's because you're people of color and you're Asian, you're a woman that you're getting these jobs. And
no.
That's not the case. Because things have been, like for example, Nickelodeon, they have female leadership and they're just thriving and it's not because they're women, it's because they're who they are. And just happen to be women.
Yeah. And by the way, do you guys feel like, was it 2 years after COVID, after the big lockdown? Mm-hmm. Isn't everything starting to really go up and start booming now?
Yeah.
Do you feel like?
Too much. In our industry? Yeah.
I think it's because of COVID that when people realize that animation is you don't need to be on site to do animation.
Right.
Anyone can do animation. All they need is internet.
Safe.
And a computer.
Yeah.
I think it's a point where there's not enough because
you don't need to shoot on set.
Yeah.
I feel like also people there's so much work that there's literally just not enough people anymore.
Yes,
that's how it feels right now, right?
And because a lot of people, we are in the Great Resignation, so a lot of people are quitting, but then at the same time, there's so much demand in content.
Why are people quitting?
Because you're not dealing with the bullshit.
they're realizing the work-life balance that they want, that the quality of life that they want.
Is that what happened? Oh, I didn't know that.
So this is actually not for your generation. It kind of in our generation, but it's more really like the current generation are realizing this.
It's like,
you know,
no, it's us.
It's us?
It's
I know
literally
people who are
20 to
quitting.
like 40
I know
something.
people who are quitting now for sure because they want work. They want to get out of this toxic 14-hour a day,
Well, it's like
whatever.
you notice something was toxic and you're like, I need to get out of this. But for some people, you get so bogged down and you think it's you.
And you think it's normal for
And
it
you
to
think
be
it's normal. And then when you go home and you're like, I'm home. I'm working at home. Oh, I'm a person. Like, I matter. Like, my voice matters. Like, my time matters. I'm not getting treated well. I don't get enough money. I don't have any time for myself. Like, I'm chained to my desk. Like, once you're home and you have, like, time to actually, like, think.
And
you're
not get persuaded by other perks that is in the environment at work.
Oh.
You see, like, you strip all those out and you
strip
realize...
the fun out. And you're like, do I actually like
what
this?
is this value? Is it worth is my value really equivalent to this?
Okay.
And do I want to be treated this way?
Yeah.
That's why people are quitting.
Yeah.
But my question is, how are people surviving?
Yeah, it's all unemployment.
I don't know.
But it's not the case.
But
She's
everybody
like,
I know who's quit has gotten a new job.
see, I think that's a smart way. I think if they're just relying on unemployment, then later on...
I think the people who are just quitting are, like, in college or very young. And
Hopefully. I don't
or
know.
they just, value
I think we're talking about
themselves.
service industry.
Service too.
Would mean that, I don't know if, like, actual production people quit.
They're not quitting
I
to
don't-
just quit. They're
Yeah,
just
they probably have a
quitting
better
with the
something
job.
like...
Yeah.
I mean, a better company.
yeah.
Netflix is a huge topic when studios, the employees do quit, is that, well, there's a place like Netflix that has better offer.
I literally think every time someone quits, they were like, are they going to Netflix? And, like, half the time it was.
Does that mean that they have to rise, elevate their
But
work life?
because of the ship is taking too long to correct itself because it's so big.
Yes,
You're getting stuck.
It's like Titanic.
It's like when
the iceberg is there and they're trying to shift.
Or like when that boat was stuck in the canal last summer and it was like blocking all the
the one
ships.
that had that toilet paper on it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like the Suez Canal boat. They can't get it out. And it's like taking so long because these companies are so big and they're so out of touch.
Yeah.
And then once you
that
get
makes
to a
sense.
They
certain
have a
point,
traditional system that it's been working for so many
but
years.
it doesn't work with this
and then
new
some
generation.
company like Netflix comes around and like
can pivot.
yeah.
Just spin around.
And so
Like-
it's like a blessing or curse in our industry. Is that it's a blessing for us because we're all elevating
For
but
the man.
for the man, but then the companies are having struggles to
Yeah.
keep up with that.
And then the people who are working at the companies who are like sipping the Kool-Aid, which is like what I love to say, they just are like doubling down and getting like even more toxic from like my
Really?
perspective on things.
Ugh.
there's all these stuff, right? So how do you feel now that you are at your dream job?
Which, it's,
Your dream
it's
company.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. I want to stay with them, as long as they can keep me.
Also, we were talking about this earlier, but because they're saying that you couldn't move up because of your accent, we're wondering if that was something you could sue over.
I don't think so. I don't know.
We were just asking a question.
Actually, well, I have a
Because
question.
is it discrimination? I don't know.
I actually talked to one of my friend who was a lawyer. Like, he told me that, apparently that's not
right.
a discrimination. You can fire someone over their accent. Well, at least that way.
Has that been always on your mind when you interview them?
No, that actually would never been in my mind until it happened to me.
Because it's your normal.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
this
very
is
normal.
you.
Like, no, like I said, I'm from San Francisco. Like, I went there for 7 years. An accent thing, I never, like, it's not even like a
It was
thing.
not your handicap.
It's not even a thing.
Like I would never have thought it until you told me that when it happened. Like I would never, I never had a problem once speaking to you. We would fight all the time and it was fine. We
I
both
just remember
understood
like,
each
this
other.
girl talks so fast, I can't keep up with it.
I just think your brain is going at a million miles. an
Yeah.
hour.
Yes, that will happen. I think that happened my challenge to slow down because it's hard because it's like I'm like when you throw,
You get excited.
yeah,
and you have
and then I'm
problems.
actually really bad with interview because that when the moment I'm nervous, that's it. I start talking. I even know what I'm talking about.
black
I'm like, stop.
You
I
just
can't.
black out.
Yeah, basically, and I think it's also good because when I'm in like a comfortable position, like when even interview. When the environment is comfortable, then I was able to slow down. And
Are you
I'm able
comfortable
to,
here?
Yeah, see? I always
There you
like
go.
spin bullet.
What do you think that made Netflix interview go well for you?
I think I think the second interview I went in was very natural. Everyone is on the same page. You know, they're very straightforward. They're very upfront. They're like, you know, this is what we expect. And then I think they heard about me from my supervisor.
Yeah. But it was also like you went in like, I have something.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
This is just better.
Yeah.
So it like takes all the pressure off because you're not
I'm not desperate for the job,
desperately grasping
Yeah.
for something
Yeah.
that.
And you were confident of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
asset you're bringing to the
Yeah,
table.
because they asked, do you know how to do it? I'm like, yeah. It's funny because they hired me on the spot. So right after the interview, 3 hours later, the recruiter called me and like, hey, we're ready to make an
That's
offer.
so
That's amazing.
And then
Amazing.
I told them a number and they say yes right away. And it's really no bargaining, you know.
Yeah.
And I think
Wow.
that's really I'm really bad with, you know, like bargaining, like
Yeah.
But
fight
they're
for
also
the-
like, yeah, we know your value, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Yeah.
So here's, because we're running out of time, I want to ask, like, what advice can you give for the folks out there who are in similar position as you of like going through obstacles or like
18-year-old on. What would you tell her?
Oh,
Or,
What?
or 22, someone who
22,
just got
you know
out,
what?
someone who just got out of school and
Baby on.
yeah.
maybe she doesn't want to change anything.
I think for me it's just learning, like understanding, you know, like how to network. It's very important.
How do you network?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm a book reader. 90% of the stuff I learned is actually through book. I have this book called 2 Hour of Job Search in the Modern World, and then it's helped me a lot. And it literally get break down in how to properly follow up with someone.
Wait,
How
what's the
to-
book called?
Yeah, I
again?
want that book.
2 hour, like don't quote me here, 'cause I think I probably say the name wrong. It's 2 Hour Job Search something.
2-hour job
We'll
search.
post
In the
it somewhere.
technology, yeah, I sent it to you because I have always wanted to like do a panel to talk about this book and you talk about like the networking
Yeah.
process because it's really cool because it's literally tell you exactly what the question you should ask when you reach
Oh
out
my
to
god,
someone.
we should have this episode.
Yeah. Tanya coming back.
Yeah. Second guess.
how to really like how to send an email, how to trap up an email that doesn't make you sound like a creep or so
Yeah.
desperate.
Yeah.
You know, and how to
Or
follow
annoyed.
up. Like
Yeah, because I always feel like I'm bothering people.
because
That's like my big problem.
Yeah, that three thing is that during my job search, I literally a day I would send out about 20 something email a day,
Yeah.
and then
Whoa.
so it's like it's called the follow up by 3. So the first email you send out, and then if they did not respond back to you 3 days later, you send out the follow up, and then the last email you send them it's 7 later. And when you send this email, you're like, hey, you want to follow up? It's really like, hey, by the way, I have been doing this, and then it's relevant to the whatever project you're applying for.
So great.
So this way, it starts a conversation, and then it will make you remember you. And actually, this is how I got called for every single one of my interviews.
That's so awesome.
It's because I do, you know, because I got
Yeah.
sometimes people reach out to me and they were like, you know, my life is ruined. If you know, I'm not gonna be able to get you a job if you like you say that I need a job because I don't have money. Blah blah. blah. I'm like, no,
Nobody
that's
has
not.
money.
You need to remember
No.
recruiters are people as
Yeah.
well. They have feelings. They
And,
have
and
opinions.
also, if the person responds back to you, you have to respond back to them within a 12-hour work hour, not in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. in the morning, and you respond to the email. So it's a
8 to
how
8.
how to a very professional way to like, respond to that.
I mean, there have been people who take weeks. And I'm
Yes,
like,
and
nope, you're not getting
yeah,
a job.
exactly. So that
Yeah.
so I think if I would have know that when I would like finish. Well, actually, I did. Maybe 18-year-old me would have known that. I would have been in a better position in terms of built confidence. Because
Yeah.
when you understand the formula, you understand that it's not you.
So do
it's
your
the
homework,
method. Yeah.
research,
Yeah.
read, and build your confidence.
And
Yeah.
I love that you just said it's not you.
It's not you, yeah.
Yeah.
It's never you.
I went through
Could be you.
it's me. I went through an unemployment
Well, it's a bad fit.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
And it can really kill your ego.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I felt full on depression because you feel like your worth is so
Nothing.
tied to your job.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you didn't go through that, which I think
Did
is
you?
A little bit, but at the same
Okay.
time, I'm kind of like, So Rhea called me like I'm very arrogant and I'm very confident. So I think that part of me like have like pull me back up. Cause the moment I like, oh man,
Are you arrogant though?
Quite arrogant. Yeah. I'm very arrogant.
But it works. It works.
But
she owns it.
But at the same time,
stuff to back it up.
But at the same time, it's like I also reel it in. I know when I kind of like step out.
I feel like it works. Like the whole personality. Like if you weren't so
The big
confident,
personality
I would
was-
like be scared. Like I was like, you're so good at your job. Like why wouldn't you be happy? Like
Honestly,
you know,
when I first met
Tom Smith wouldn't question his ability. Like why would On?
That's true. When I first met On, I was like, I don't know if I could work with this girl. Like she's so big. Like her personality was so big for me that I was like, I don't know if I could.
I can
work
be
with
very
her.
intimidating.
Yeah.
People
We
call
had
me
the best
that.
time at. We scared people. We would scare the coordinators.
No, and it wasn't until she
PAs.
made pie in the kitchen where I
Yeah,
bonded
They also
with her.
love me. I'm very intimidating, but they also
She makes the
love me,
best food
so.
ever.
She makes random food in the kitchen with random
With
ingredients.
prison
and
pie.
It's amazing. Prison pie.
Yeah.
But on Photoshop because I said I loved that book, that was it Orange is the New Black, and on Photoshop my face on
Oh, the best. No, she makes the best gifts, best food. Everybody loves her. You have so much fun. You just feed people.
Yeah,
Just like
I love
it's-
feeding people.
It's like
You have good energy.
we love On. This is an On fan club.
It did take a minute though, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like when I first impression was I wasn't really sure.
I'm a
about
very
you.
because that happened throughout my childhood because I have like what I call that the bitch face, what I call
Resting
that?
bitch face.
Yes
RBF.
yes.
I feel
And
like we clicked immediately. It was like someone on my.
it's funny because
On your level, yeah.
it's hurt because at the same time like I said I'm actually an introvert, so I do not know how to talk to people.
That is a
Bullshit.
Like I don't like I'm really good at talking about work. Like I can sit and talk to you for 5 hours about work. But when we start talking about like, oh, what are you doing your Sunday? And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay, bye.
That's it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
conversation would cut down 10 minutes.
Well, there's books.
Yeah.
You can read them.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fixable.
well. On. It's been a freaking pleasure.
I missed you.
Yes, we
Thank
missed
you.
you a lot,
I know.
and your story was amazing to hear.
Absolutely.
And
Very inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring. And we would love to see what the future holds for you with
Yes,
Netflix.
thank you.
Showrunner On.
No.
Hire me. I'll be your PA.
Get a $6 million
Hire
bonus.
me, please. Yes, please. Alrighty.
I could do your main titles.
There you go. Hey, we got connections.
I know.
Hey. Cool.
Well, guys, that's the end for today's Lipp.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
On.
On. Bye. For more information, follow us on Instagram at Ladies in Prod Podcast, or you can email us at ladiesandprodpodcast@gmail.com.